You know how when you buy a jar of salsa at the store and you get it home and it's just not the same as the restaurant? I'm going to show you how to fix that problem with 3 easy methods. Hi, I'm Uncle Carl, foodie and world traveler. Come join me as I recreate some of the dishes that I've experienced from around the world. Thank you for joining me on this trip, and welcome to Twin Moons Tavern. So here in America, if you go into any Mexican restaurant, they're going to give you complimentary salsa and chips. It's really good, and quite often people use it as a way to judge a Mexican restaurant, but nobody really makes it at home. People buy a jar of it at the store, bring it back to the house, and it's not the same as in the restaurant. Well, because it's in a jar. It's super easy to make. There's as many different ways to make salsa as there are Mexican grandmas. Because of that, I'm going to show you 3 different ways to make it. I'm gonna give you recipes, but it's more 3 different methods and kind of explain to you how you can adjust it to your personal tastes. With that, if you like this kind of material, please hit the subscribe button and don't forget the notification bell, just so you're aware of anything that I post. And then we'll get right on to teaching you how to make salsa. Before I get started, I'm doing a giveaway this month. If you're interested in a free cast iron skillet, be sure to watch to the end of the video to get the rules on how to get one. Today I'm doing these recipes a little bit differently. I'm focusing more on method and technique than I am the amounts of ingredients. I will include in the description a few recipes with amounts on them, but for now I'm just going to list the ingredients that you'd be using. Tomatoes, tomatillos, onions, garlic, lime, cilantro, cumin, salt and pepper to taste, and some mixture of jalapeno peppers, red chilies, serranos, poblanos, habaneros, or really any other pepper that you like. I'm doing several different versions of salsa today, so you can mix and match your techniques and recipes and come up with a salsa that is perfect for you. Our first preparation I'm going to do for salsa fresca. That is a fresh salsa. It is uncooked. I'm also going to make it a chunky version. I'm going to start with my tomatoes. I'm going to show you a couple different ways to cut them up. First, we're going to cut it in half. Put a little V-cut where the stem is, so you can take that out. Then quarter it, then into 8ths, and then just coming through so you have little wedges on it. Next, I'm going to do cubes. There's 2 ways to do that. First, just slice a little bit off the side of your tomato so you have a stable base, and then just come down slicing it up. The last little bit, you're going to have to readjust and slice across. Then you're just going to slice it into sticks, turn it around, and then dice it out. The second method I'm going to show you today to cube them, and in my opinion, the easier way to do it, cut off the top, use that as a steady base, cut them into slices, and then just like before, slice them into sticks, turn them, and then take those sticks and cube them up. With your garlic, as usual, you're going to go ahead and give them a crush under the flat of your blade. Don't cut you. Slice them up, and then do the rocky choppy. You want to get a really good fine mince on this garlic. It is raw, and if you bite into a big piece, that's just going to be way too much of that punchy raw garlic flavor. Then with an onion, cut off the top, slice it in half, peel it, make slices from the front towards the bottom. Don't go all the way through the back side of it. Make sure you leave that root intact. Then you're going to come across parallel to the cutting board. And then once you've done that, slice down, making cubes. Just like the garlic, you kind of want to make these on the small side. Now with a bunch of freshly washed cilantro, shave them off. We're going to leave these cilantro leaves fairly big, so take time to make sure that you don't have any big stems in there. And then run your knife through them a couple times, and then start the rocky choppy. And then readjust your camera because your mom called while you were in the middle of something, because that's what moms do. And then get back to the rocky choppy until you get it to the size you want. Now the peppers. This salsa, I'm going to make a mild salsa, so I'm going to use a poblano and a jalapeno. Poblanos do have some heat to them, but in the world of peppers, they are pretty mild, but they do have a lot of flavor. Going to cut off the top, cut it in half, and now I'm going to remove all the seeds and any of the pith that's inside. Be sure to remember the pith too. The seeds and the pith is where the majority of the heat lives for any of these peppers. And again, this one we're trying to make mild. Once you've got the seeds and the pith removed, slice it into sticks, and then turn those sticks into cubes. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with the jalapeno. Again, this is mild. Make sure you get all that pith and seed out. A quick note about cooking with peppers. If you have gloves, wear them. If you don't, just please make sure you don't touch your face and absolutely wash your hands when you're finished. Then we're going to go ahead and add our salt, pepper, and cumin. And then we're going to get the juice of 1 lime. A trick to get as much juice out as you can. Take your lime, press it on your table or your cutting board, and then just apply pressure and roll it a little bit, back and forth a couple of times. That's going to help it release a lot of its juice. And then just cut it in half and squeeze it into your bowl. Give it a quick stir. Give it a quick taste test. Go ahead and use a tortilla chip to do this. They tend to be salty, and that's going to affect how much salt you want in the salsa itself. And there you have it, the salsa fresca, also known as a pico de gallo. It's perfectly good to serve now, but if you let it sit and marinate in its own juices, it's going to make for a better product. So if you have time, wrap it up in some cellophane and leave it in the refrigerator for 4 hours plus. Now we're going to do a fire roasted salsa. Get yourself a pan on a medium-high heat. Olive oil is really not necessary with this, but I'm kind of doing it out of habit. And then put your tomatoes, your peppers, and your garlic in. I left my peels on my garlic. Our overall goal is to get everything charred, but if the flesh of the garlic itself chars, that turns it very, very bitter. This salsa, I'm looking to turn up the heat factor. I'm going to call this a medium, at least it's a medium for me. So I've added a second jalapeno and a red chili. And then just let them cook for about 5-10 minutes. You want to let them sit until they start to char and look a little burnt. That char is actually something we want. Flip them over, give them another 5-10 minutes, or until they're at the char level you'd like. And then realize you didn't do your onion, and cook your onion the same way you did everything else. Once all that's cool enough for you to handle, start chopping stuff up. The peppers, I'm cutting the top off, cutting them in half, just like I've done before. I'm going to be less picky about getting all the seed and pith out of these. I'm going to try to get some of them out, but because this is a medium and not a mild, if a little bit gets into the salsa, it's not a big deal. And if you're an eagle-eyed viewer, you've already figured out what I'm doing wrong. And if you haven't guessed, you're going to figure it out in 3, 2, 1, go. Carl, that is why you have gloves. Again, if you're working with peppers, they are really hot, and if you get that on your face and your eyes, anywhere else that's sensitive, it's going to burn and you're not going to enjoy it. So please, if you got them, wear gloves. If you don't have gloves, just be sure not to touch your face and eyes while you're doing this. And when you're done, wash your hands thoroughly before you do anything else. Now that I got my gloves on, I'm going to go ahead and start by cubing these, just like I did in the last salsa, but I'm not going to be really picky about the uniformity of size. Because they're cooked, they're going to be soft and slippery and hard to be precise. Once they're cubed, I'm turning them into a mince. I'm handling the tomatoes the same way. I'm cutting them in half, getting that stem out, give them a rough cube, and then the rocky choppy. The flesh of the tomato is going to be super soft, and it's really going to turn into more of a paste. The thing you really want to make sure that you're doing is the skin of the tomato itself is getting chopped up into small pieces. Same with the onions, give them a rough cube, and then mince them up. Cilantro we're going to handle just like we did before, but because everything else is more of a minced, we're going to handle the cilantro the same way. And what you don't see here, because for some reason I didn't get the shot, is how I handle the garlic. Because it's roasted, you can just squeeze it out of that papery shell and it'll come out in this paste, almost like a soft butter. And you're just going to smash it down a little bit with your knife and then dump it into your bowl. Salt, pepper, and cumin, juice of 1 lime, give it a mix. And then after you've tasted it and everything's fine, just like the first one, it tastes better over time. So just wrap it up and stick it in the refrigerator. And now for a third one. This is going to be a roasted Salsa Verde. I'm also going to make this very spicy. We're going to start off with tomatillos. I'm sorry about this shot. There's nothing I can do about it now. Tomatillos are a Mexican tomato. They're green in color, and they come with a papery leaf-like husk wrapped around them. First thing you want to do is peel that husk off. Comes off super easy. And then be absolutely sure to wash these. Once you get that husk off, they're going to be covered with this sticky residue. You absolutely want to get all of that off. They have a really nasty flavor to them. Once you've done that and all your other vegetables are washed as well, just go ahead and throw them onto a sheet pan that's been wrapped in tin foil. Again, it's coated in olive oil. That's more out of habit than anything else. You really don't need to do it. But I got my tomatillos, I got my peppers, I got my garlic, I got my onions. And now we're going to put it in the oven at 500 degrees or however high your oven can go. Again, you're going to let them go for 5 to 10 minutes. Take them out, flip them. They're going to have a nice char on them. Put them back in for another 5-10 minutes and then take them out. And you got a beautiful char on all of these. They're cooked through. They're going to be delicious. This time I'm going to do it more as a puree. And I'm also going to make it a spicy version, so I'm not going to worry about the seeds or the pith. I'm just going to cut off the tops of everything, give everything a rough chop, put it into the blender. The garlic, you're just going to squeeze them and they're going to pop right on out of that shell. Don't forget your salt, pepper, and cumin. Give it a good blitz. Add your cilantro. Since you're pureeing it and the stems are edible, don't need to worry about the stems. Add your lime juice and then blitz it some more until you get the consistency you want. If it ends up being a little thick, just add a little water to it, it'll be fine. And there you have 3 different recipes, 3 different spice levels, 3 different styles. As always, I'm going to encourage you to take these recipes and make them their own. And in this case, really just mix and match until you get exactly what it is you want. Now that you've sat through the video, just as I promised, the giveaway. This is Molly. I've had her since my first video, and I'm giving her away to one of you. For your chance to win her, just make sure you subscribe to the page, like this video, comment on it, and share it. And then next month, I will pick my favorite comment, and whoever that is, I will send Molly to you.